The framing effect, how information is presented, can influence our decisions. For example, a product described as 90% fat-free sounds healthier than one labeled as 10% fat. The anchoring effect. The first piece of information we hear about something becomes an anchor that influences our subsequent judgments. For instance, if a salesperson tells you a watch is normally $1,000 but is on sale for $500, you might perceive it as a better deal than it actually is. The sunk cost fallacy. We tend to cling to decisions we've made, even if the outcome is negative, because of the investment of time, money, or effort we've already put in. For example, continuing to watch a boring movie because you paid for the ticket. The availability bias. We judge the likelihood of events based on how easily we can remember examples. If you hear a lot about car accidents, you might overestimate the danger of driving, even though statistically it's quite safe. The ease with which we can recall examples, news stories, biases our perception of risk. The confirmation bias. We tend to favour information that confirms our existing beliefs and disregard information that contradicts them. This can lead to echo chambers and a lack of critical thinking. For example, if you believe social media is harmful, you'll likely pay more attention to news stories about its negative effects and ignore positive ones. The bandwagon effect. Ever feel pressured to join a trend because everyone else seems to be doing it? That's the bandwagon effect. We are social creatures and influenced by the behaviours of those around us. Seeing others participate makes something seem more desirable or correct. The placebo effect. The power of belief can influence our physical and mental state. Inert substances, sugar pills, can produce positive effects if patients believe they are taking real medicine. This highlights the mind-body connection. The bystander effect. The more people who witness an emergency, the less likely any one person is to intervene. This phenomenon can be explained by diffusion of responsibility. Everyone assumes someone else will help. And fear of social evaluation, worrying about what others will think. The Dunning-Kruger effect. People with low ability often overestimate their competence, while those with high ability may underestimate theirs. This can lead to overconfidence in unskilled individuals and a lack of self-belief in highly skilled ones. The mere exposure effect. The more we are exposed to something, the more we tend to like it. This is a basic principle of advertising and marketing. Repeated exposure to a brand, product, or even a person can increase our familiarity and favorability towards it. The spotlight effect. We often overestimate how much other people notice our mistakes or flaws. This can lead to social anxiety and self-consciousness. In reality, people are usually more focused on themselves than on others' minor imperfections. The loss aversion. We feel the pain of loss more intensely than the pleasure of gain. This can lead to risk-averse behaviour and a tendency to hold on to things, even if they have no value. For example, you might be more motivated to avoid losing $100 than to win $100. The illusory correlation. Our brains are wired to find patterns, and sometimes we see connections where none exist. This is especially true when something confirms our existing beliefs. For example, if you believe that people who wear red hats are more likely to be rude, you might pay more attention to times when someone in a red hat cuts you in line, neglecting all the polite people in red hats you see throughout the day. This confirmation bias creates the illusion of a correlation between red hats and rudeness.